Hey, Lily. Sorry I couldn't make it out to your property today.
That's okay. I think I've got all the material I need to seed my meadow, but as you know, I'm a visual learner and I was wondering if you had anything that could help me through the steps of actually planting my meadow.
Well, you're in luck because I have a video from when we planted a demonstration meadow at GoNative that can help you with all of the steps you need to follow to plant your own meadow. Once you've cleared the existing vegetation from your lawn, the first step is to prepare the soil by lightly raking it. This is done to break up the hardened top layer of soil and create shallow furrows for the seeds to fall into. You don't need the soil to be fluffy like garden soil would be. In fact, the rule of thumb for a meadow is that you want the soil to be fluffy enough where an adult's foot would not sink in more than about a quarter inch. Before planting your meadow on the newly raked soil, there are a few things you need to know first. Depending on the time of year and the type of meadow you're making, you might want to use a companion crop. A companion crop is usually a type of grass that will grow faster than the slower growing meadow plants. This crop will hold the soil and protect the meadow seedlings from predators like birds or rodents, or threats like being washed away in a heavy rain. This meadow is planted with grain oats as the companion crop. You can see 1 pound of meadow seed mix on the left and 1 pound of grain oats companion crop on the right. Note they have very different densities. The meadow seed mix has nearly 30 different species, some of which are very small, and others are large and fluffy. Achieving an even distribution of seeds on the soil will be difficult because of this wide variation in seed size and shape. So one of the ways to help with this distribution is by using a bulking agent. Bulking agents are mixed with the seed to give the seeds a medium in which to evenly distribute themselves. You can buy a fancy bulking agent or use cheap, non-clumping cat litter, which serves the same function, but is far more affordable. The general rule of thumb for this type of meadow is you'd like to achieve about a dozen seeds per square foot, which will result in about 1 to 2 mature plants per square foot in the mature meadow. It's time for step 2, how to mix the seeds in bulking agent. Using a bucket, pour in a layer of bulking agent, in this case non-clumping cat litter, then pour in some of the meadow seed mix and some of the companion crop if you're using one. Continue this method until the seeds are fully in the bucket, and then mix. Make sure to reach all the way to the bottom when mixing so the seeds are evenly distributed in the mixture. You can see how the seeds are suspended in the bulking agent, allowing for a more even distribution and preventing the smaller round seeds from migrating to the bottom of the bag and not being evenly distributed with the other seeds. Step 3 is spreading or sowing the seed on the prepared soil. Pour your big bucket of seeds and bulking agent into smaller buckets if you're working with multiple people so everybody can help. Remember as you are spreading the seeds to occasionally give your bucket a stir from the bottom to ensure all seeds remain evenly suspended in the mixture with the bulking agent. Smaller seeds have a tendency to migrate towards the bottom of the bucket as you shake it around, and the stirring helps prevent this. Grab a handful of the mixture from your bucket and just spread it as you walk by shaking your hand. It's fine to walk on the seeds you've spread as you're simply helping to push them into the ground. Spread the seed walking in one orientation, and then spread the other half by walking over the same area in a perpendicular orientation. This method will help cut down on areas that may get missed when the seed is not tossed onto the ground evenly and will help ensure an even distribution of seeds across the site. After spreading the seeds, and as long as your site is small enough that's under a few thousand square feet, it's very helpful to again lightly rake the area, usually using the flat of a rake. This helps mix the soil onto the seeds prior to the next step. Step 4 is rolling the area that was seeded. Rolling must be done when the soil is not too wet. Otherwise, the seeds will stick to the roller instead of being pushed into the ground. This particular roller is a drum filled with water. The seeds need to have good contact with the soil in order to effectively germinate, sprout, and properly grow. Rolling pushes the seeds into the furrows we created in the first step. Walk in several orientations to help minimize the chance of spots not being sufficiently rolled. Walking helps press the seeds into the soil. And if your site is small and you don't have a roller, you can walk over it with some friends multiple times, and this will achieve the same result. On larger sites, you can very slowly drive over the site with an ATV or truck to achieve the same result you'd get with a roller. Step 5. Covering the area with straw mulch. If you're working in a small site or a site that has some slope to it, we always recommend adding a light layer of straw mulch to protect the meadow seeds as they germinate. Whenever possible, we also recommend using a tackifier. This is a gum-like substance that helps hold the straw to itself and to the ground. Some straw mulch has a built-in tackifier and may be the best choice for your project. The tackifier is very helpful because it prevents the straw from blowing away in the wind or washing away in extreme weather. This helps it better protect the seeds from those weather conditions and from predators like birds and mice. The mulch completely decomposes after a year or two and won't prevent the seeds from sprouting and growing properly. The trick is to use a very light layer of mulch, and the rule of thumb is that you want to be able to see soil through the individual pieces of straw, but you want the straw to all be touching itself, so when the tackifier is activated, it glues it all together. Take a chunk of mulch from the bag, rub your hands together so a layer begins to fall on the ground, and always use the wind to your advantage. Keep on distributing until the site is covered. And it's always best to start with a light layer and then spread more straw where you need it. It's very difficult to remove the straw once it's already on the ground. Step 6. Whenever possible, it's always helpful to do a light watering on the site after the mulch and tackifier have been applied. Why not just wait for the rain? Well, the next rainstorm may be so intense that it washes away the meadow seeds before the tackifier activates and glues them to the ground. It won't be necessary to water your meadow again, especially after it is full grown. Unlike traditional lawn grasses, these plants are adapted to the ecological conditions of central New York and do not require regular watering.
Well, that's awesome, Sam. That video was super helpful, and the actual planting of this meadow is going to be a lot easier than I thought.
Yes, believe it or not, the planting part of the meadow is really one of the easier parts. It's making sure that you do things like clear the vegetation properly, understand what you want to get out of your meadow, and design the seed mix in a correct way. Those are the tough parts that tend to be time consuming.
Now that I've been through the process, I believe it. Thanks again, Sam, and I'll see you at our usual spot next time.
Yep, usual spot. Sounds good, Lily.